Well-known, prominent, talented comedians are now suing. They're now suing because of alleged racial discrimination at Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport. That's in Atlanta. That is the busiest airport on the planet Earth. Yeah, on the planet Earth. Let's go to it. Let's put up the pictures of the comedians who have filed suit. André and Clayton English. They spoke at a press conference to announce the lawsuit. Now, this is going to be interesting because what they are alleging is not only connected to the airport, but also connected to the local police department and the DA's office. I'm going to explain. Comedians André and Clayton English are challenging a police program. Keep this in mind. It is called or considered a police program at the Atlanta airport. They say violates the Constitution and the constitutional rights of airline passengers, particularly those that are black, through racial profiling and coercive searches, just as they are about to board their flights. Lawyers for the two men filed a lawsuit Tuesday in federal court in Atlanta alleging that they were racially profiled and illegally stopped by Clayton County police at Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport. Don't let the name Clayton County throw you off. The city of Atlanta does in fact own the Atlanta airport. However, the Atlanta airport is not actually in the city of Atlanta. It is in a neighboring county known as Clayton County. They annexed themselves into Clayton County, which means Clayton County still has some jurisdictional control over what happens in the Atlanta airport. Just want to make that clear for the record. Now let me put up the Clayton County Chief of Police because we've covered him before on this program due to the fact that this chief, his name is Kevin Roberts, actually had a cop who was under murder indictment train other officers on his SWAT team. We broke the story, we brought it to you first, and because of our reporting, that cop is no longer on active duty. He was indicted for murder of an African-American college student, but was allowed to continue to train the SWAT team in Clayton County. We covered it, he's no more. According to witnesses, that chief of police later called me a thug with a PhD. Thank you for the compliment, sir. There's more. The two men, the comedians, well-known comedians and actors say officers decided to single them out during separate stops roughly 6 months apart because they are black and grilled them about drugs and other passengers watched. People were gawking at me and I looked suspicious when I did nothing wrong, André said in an interview, calling the experience dehumanizing and demoralizing. While the stated purpose of the program is to fight drug trafficking, the lawsuit says drugs are actually rarely found. Criminal charges seldom result, and seized cash provides a financial windfall for the police department. I'm going to break all of this down, and I'm going to show you how within their own records, it is clear that the program is adversarial to the US Constitution. Clayton County police officers and investigators from the county district attorney's office selectively stop passengers in the narrow jet bridges used to access the planes, according to the lawsuit. The officers take the passengers' boarding passes and identification and interrogate them, sometimes searching their bags before they board the flights. The lawyers say in the lawsuit, the police department calls the stops consensual encounters. However, that's not what happened. They also say these things are random, but in reality, the stops rely on coercion and targets are selected disproportionately based on their race, according to the argument from the attorneys. Now, I want to remind everyone there's already an issue here. According to the records from Clayton PD, all of these searches, they were given consent. Somebody said, absolutely, go ahead and check my pockets, check my baggage, check my luggage. And then here's the irony. By the time you make it on the bridge to get into the airplane, you've already gone through what? Multiple security checks. You've gone through an x-ray machine. You've gone through a checkpoint. You've already been vetted. Maybe you've been searched. Maybe you've been wanted. There's more. Clayton County Police spokesperson Julia Isaac said the department does not comment on pending litigation. Police records show that from August 30th, 2020 to April 30th, 2021, there were 402 jet bridge stops. Do you hear me? 402 jet bridge stops, and the passengers' race was listed for 378 of those stops. Of the 378 passengers, 211 were black. 211. And the people of color accounted for a total of 258 stops, or roughly 68 to 70%, according to the lawsuit. Those 402 stops resulted in 3, do you hear me? 3 reported drug seizures. About 10 grams of drugs from one passenger, 26 grams of suspected gummies from another, and 6 prescription pills without a prescription from a third, according to the suit. Only the first and the third person were charged. So let's do the math here. You're literally violating the constitutional rights of hundreds of people, primarily people of color. You're using the disguise of public safety, trying to find drugs here. And you all are finding damn THC gummies and somebody who forgot their damn prescription pills or their prescription script. That's it. Those 402 stops did something else. What did it do? It yielded more than $1 million in cash and money orders from a total of 25 passengers. All but 1 were allowed to continue their travels, and only 2, the ones who also had drugs, were charged. The lawsuit says 8 of the 25 challenged the seizures. And Clayton County Police settled each case, returning much of the seized money, the lawsuit says. So literally, you have an operation here, ladies and gentlemen, where people are getting their dollars taken away from them. Their dollars are being snatched away. And the police are saying, hey, we're gonna hold on to this. Anticipated evidence for maybe possible future prosecution. You could go on as we conduct our continued investigation, have a good flight. And then it forces you to go through a bureaucratic process to get your own money back. And many times you don't even get it all back, and you have never been charged with a crime at all. You see, this program seems to exist not for the sake of finding drugs, because that's not what's happening, but they are finding money. All right. One of the lawyers who filed the lawsuit, NYU School of Law Policing Project co-founder Barry Friedman, encouraged anyone, and I'm doing the same thing. I'm encouraging anyone who has had a similar experience to make contact. The lawsuit names Clayton County and the chief of police, as well as 4 police officers and a district attorney's office investigator. It alleges violations of the constitutional rights that protect against unreasonable searches and seizures and against racial discrimination. The comedians seek a jury trial and ask that the Clayton County Police Jet Bridge Interdiction Program be declared unconstitutional. They also seek compensatory and punitive damages as well as legal costs. Here's how we know about the program. One person said something out loud. Then another person said, well, damn, that happened to me too. And then other people started to come forward. You see, this is an issue of systemic bias, prejudice in policing, and obviously it's adversarial to public trust and the community they are supposed to serve. It took this long before it came to the forefront, but now it's here. We're going to continue to update you as this federal lawsuit makes it through the judicial process. But I want to remind everybody, hundreds of passengers that we know of, there may be more, less than 1% of drugs found, but over $1 million taken by Clayton PD, according to the report. Max, thoughts on this?
Dr. Richey, thanks for having me. I will say Eric André deserves a lot of praise for coming out and saying this. And if I'm Clayton County Police, the last person I want to tangle with, and this is Eric André, a man who understands his rights, is very dynamic in explaining these issues to people, and has the resources to fight back. Because as you pointed out, this is essentially an operation that flags people who don't have the resources to push back by making you file papers and go back to the airport to get your money back, even if you've done nothing wrong. And as you point out, I mean, this is a so-called random program that is not random. 7 in 10 of these people are black. It's a drug interdiction program that doesn't catch any drugs. About the only thing it does do is pad the balance sheet of the police department. And that depends on people being quiet and being intimidated. And in this case, they've messed with someone who is not intimidated. And this whole house of cards now is gonna get some real sunlight. And that is the last thing these police want.
Yeah, they effed around and found out.